grateful to be here today.
Yes.
How are you guys doing?
We're doing good.
Yes.
Fabulous.
Awesome. Well, if you go ahead and introduce yourselves one by one, and then we can go from there.
Okay.
I'll let you go first. Ladies first.
I am Regina Mincey, and I'm the mom of our co-author group, and this is my son, and we have written a children's book together. It was my son's idea, and I am by day an attorney, judge, part-time professor, part-time realtor, have multiple jobs, and now I can add a published author to my jobs.
Yes. I combine that, right? My name is Antonio McMillan Jr. I'm the son, part of this mother-son duo for co-authoring this children's book. For work, I own my own nonprofit that gears towards mentoring in the community, as well as
Church.
Yes, and I'm a youth mentor at my church as well. Look, I have so many hats, I'm trying to remember like her. So those are my main two things, and then I work in customer service by day as well. So that's my skill.
Excellent. Okay, well, we'll circle back on all the amazing things that you both are working on, definitely by the end of this, for sure. Okay, so first, let's talk about this children's book. As I figured, I see that you have a copy.
Yes.
I love that. So what inspired you to turn that book into a series? And how did you respond, I guess, what started this? How did this come about? Because I'm inspired just to hear that two, mom and son able to work together and to bring any type of adversity in any way into a physical, tangible thing. So
I'll let you tell the story. It's his idea.
Yes.
Okay.
So I would say that kind of what made me do it, I always knew that I wanted to write a book as like a young kid. And growing older, I didn't know what book would take precedence. Would it be a children's book or something for kind of people in their 20s, like my age? So I decided it would be the children's book would be the best idea to kind of put forth first in the series. So Inspired It is the series of events that me and my mom have been through. This time period of the book is right around the time that my parents got a divorce. So it's kind of just me and my mom. And we did a lot of things, a lot of adventures, went on a lot of trips. And I would like to say she didn't let me feel kind of like left out or left behind. So she had to pick up the ball and, keep the ball rolling and know that sometimes she got to play the role of mom and dad, even though my dad was still in my life, but I was, predominantly with my mother. So I wanted to coin that experience, and it came out on Mother's Day of 2024. So my goal at the beginning of the year was to get it out by Mother's Day and give her flowers in the form of a book. And not only just one book, it's a series. So we plan to do 10 books in this series. This is the first one. It's about taking your child to work day. And we have 9 more other books that kind of coin some of the experiences that we had as mother and son. So, yeah.
So I'll piggyback on that. Again, just being mom, newly divorced, and I decided to, as an attorney, I was in private practice at that time. And I decided to apply for a job and took a job as a prosecutor. And some people say that was crazy. A very busy, very demanding job, especially in Fulton County, one of the largest counties. So I would take him to work with me, sometimes out of necessity, sometimes out of my own internal Scared Straight program, that you're going to work with me to see what I do when kids make bad decisions or wrong decisions. And not so much as that, you just don't think about it when you're surviving. And so I packed my briefcase, packed his book bag, and we're going in on a Saturday to catch up on work. Not knowing that he was cataloging and kind of saving those memories. And parents, sometimes we're just in that parent mode and we don't really think that the kid is always taking it in, but he was. And when he said he wanted to write a book, I thought, okay, what do you need from me? And he said, money, but also the idea is going to be about us. And so I was really elated, but I tried to remain a little calm about it. But I am also the backdoor critic and editor of the book, because I wanted to make sure that we portray the right message as far as the court scene and things of that nature, and making sure that it was realistic. This is and I'll let Antonio expound on it, but this is a book that is real, as we say. It's live, fluid, nonfiction. All the parties and persons in the book are real. They are not made up. So he can tell you about that.
Did they read the book? Or are they like, what are you writing that?
They actually did.
Well, as a lawyer, now we did
Right.
get their permission.
Okay.
And we talked to them first, and they were all on board. I made sure I didn't make them sign NDAs or anything like that. But we did get their permission and told them that we were going to include them. The judge is still on the bench in the state court in Fulton. The paralegal in here, which is my paralegal, has retired. We did make up the defendant and the other lawyer. Those are fictional, but some of the co-workers and other names are real people who are all still alive today.
Okay, awesome. Well, something I did want to ask. So, as a single mother and a judge, how did you balance motherhood and the demands of public service, and how does that show up in the book?
The balance was, again, always on roller skates, always working, always had the briefcase. Even to this day, I had 2 cell phones. Some people may have more than 2. But I tried to balance with the weekends, taking him on adventures. We would go to the zoo. He rode the Amtrak, the 2 of us rode the Amtrak from Atlanta to D.C. one month in the summer. And we went, I think, for 7 or 8 days. And then we took another bus after we got to D.C. To New York. And so I would try to take him on trips and tours that were adventurous but fun, but also seeing all the sights in D.C. I went to law school at Georgetown, so again, I was showing him where I went to law school. He would go to Kentucky some summers to visit my mom, his grandmother, and she would take him around to the sites in Kentucky, the Muhammad Ali Center, the baseball bat factory there. So he has a lot of memories that, again, I didn't always think a whole lot about them, but he is wanting to put them in a series of adventures and books regarding a mother and son, our love for each other, our affection for each other, and show that while I was maybe giving him antidotes for life, I was also saying it could be fun, and what better, I think, reward for me that I halfway tried to do a good job was for him to say, I'm going to write a book about it. So
That's excellent. So maybe you can touch on this a little. How do you hope that the adventures of Mommy and Me will influence the way Black children view the justice system? I know you mentioned, bringing him along so he could see the Beyond Scared Straight. I'm sure many moms are like, man, if I could just take him one day,
Right.
So how did that,
Yeah, I would like to hope that the impact that this book has in that aspect is just showing representation and impact, especially in our Black and brown community, actually seeing people who look like you, who have these jobs. We're not on Law and Order, we're not on Judge Judy. This is like my mom, this is her life. So I think the impact, and you'll see, and the readers will see from this book, like, it still to this day has me in amazement just knowing this is my mom. But she's also doing her civic duty. She's, in the courtroom. She's in the community. She's doing things. She's a prosecutor. But not only just putting people away, but also, showing empathy and creating an impact. And even, she has stories where people come up to her and they're like, I remember you put me away, but you taught me a lesson and, I haven't been back to jail. So, okay, good. That's what we like to hear. But also showing for me as well, showing that, if you make bad decisions, there are consequences for that, as well as, also to know that, you get a second chance in life. Sometimes mistakes happen or things happen, but you do have a chance to, get back on the right track. It just takes one person to kind of give you that tough love and push you into that. So I would like to show that and just show, that it's a community. It's a community aspect. Like, we live in the community that she still practiced law in, and so it was fun and educational. But it also showed me that the sky's the limit. That you shouldn't place, any restraints on what you want to do in life. That if you have your mindset to it, you can do it. And I think the biggest thing is exposure. I thought I wanted to be a lawyer at one point just because of just seeing my mom wake up every day, the things that she did, and talking to clients and meetings and hearings and court procedures. It's just so many things. And, I just even remember as a kid just sitting, in the book, maybe it's a little fictitious about me being right next to her in the courtroom. I couldn't do that, but in the book, I can. But in real life, just sitting in the back of the courtroom, just seeing my mom, commanding the courtroom. She may be short in her height, but everybody was paying attention. And, seeing her stay up late night preparing and going over court procedures and just the case and everything. It's just so cool to see that now that this is my mom. Not only is she the breadwinner, but how she actually brings home the bacon. She fried it up pretty good. So, yeah.
And I think too, we wanted to also, there are a lot of, I say, co-authors of mothers and daughters, sisters, things of that nature. You don't see many moms and sons.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, again, in the judicial system, it's mainly made up of African American men. When I go to court, a lot of my bond hearings, you know, it's very heavily oriented with African American males. And I don't always see the positive role models. You know, they'll say sometimes the black male is the first one to get killed in the movie. You know, so we wanted to say, no, that's not what's going to happen. They still recognize take your child to work day or take your kid to work day. It was April 24th. And so we had several people on Instagram and Facebook to show that. We had a friend in Florida who's an FBI agent, and he took his 2 children to work that day. So we said, great. Some states are still recognizing it. Some counties are. We're trying to make that more of a movement. Fulton County was better with it back in the early 2000s when I was prosecuting. And so they did, you know, recognize it a little more. But we want to kind of bring that back to show kids that there are a lot of careers in the legal field. There's still a court reporter and the bailiffs and things of that nature, but also to get them to read and to get them back into reading again. Georgia's one of those states where the reading scores and test scores overall are pretty low. Yeah. They just came out with some. They're taking tests now, but we wanted them to pick up a book. Some kids have not been to a library or checked out a book or even read a book with their parents, and we want to make sure that you understand, and I wouldn't go back to the Dewey Decimal System, but we would have to look up the numbers and go get the book off the shelf. And a lot of kids don't know that. They go to Google or they, you know, get their, as they say, online version or tablet version. But we want to make sure that there's still books in the library. Yeah. And so we want to encourage summer reading, to read our book and other books, and just make sure that we haven't lost that gift. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What age group?
Yes, so our book is geared towards ages 5 to 8 years old.
5 to 8.
5 to 8, yeah.
Okay. But we've read and had readings to older groups.
Yeah.
And when we do read
more so talk to them about the...
Right. They want to know about the entrepreneurial side.
Of how long did it take to work the book? So they want to know more so the business idea, the business aspect. I mean, we asked them, do y'all want us to read it to y'all? I mean, I know you're a little older, but we still read it to them, but also just showing them, you know, what you can do with your story or inspire. Like, then we go into, what do you want to do? You know, career aspects. So we kind of gauge it towards that, but more the entrepreneurial spirit about starting your own business or doing something, you know, with idea with our older ones. But our younger kids, they're very excited. They think we're famous. And I would say, I think where it all stems from is like they're not used to somebody like, you guys wrote this book, this is you and this is your mom. Like, they're not used to that representation. Like, Dr. Seuss can't come and like speak to them. So it's like seeing the book and the finished product and seeing the people who wrote it, they're like, wow, like, you guys are going far. And I was like, oh, we are going far, but we know that if we impact one child, you know, just show our story. This is our story, but you can write a book too to your parents or about whatever experience, about losing your first tooth. I don't know. Whatever it is like your story is your story, and just put it out there. You don't know the impact it'll have.
Okay, awesome. So how do you hope that the Adventures of Mommy and Me contribute to a broader movement around Black literacy, family pride, and representation, just in media, really?
I think that's a really loaded question. That's good. I just hope that it just shows the family bond, not just mother and son, but it can be mother or whatever it is, just the family unit and the strength in family, and knowing that sometimes your mess could turn into a message. You know, some of the painful moments, maybe your divorce was painful, but it turned into purpose. And knowing that, you know, it could be something that you see like, I don't know what's going to come out of this. You know, it could look like a graveyard, but it can be turned into a beautiful garden if you let it. It's just all how you know, address it. You can turn your adversity into opportunity to inspire somebody to show like, hey, this was not my most proud moment in my life, or this was kind of a tumultuous situation, but I chose to not just sit there and woe is me, you know, cry about it. I actually turned it into a message and, you know, put forth the effort to actually make sure my son turns out to be a success, and through, you know, strong motherhood and impact, in a village that, you know, he's successful today, but the sacrifices that you make as a parent, you know, they do turn out good. Your kids might think you're a little crazy in the moment, but hey, it turned out, and look how it turned out. And so we just want to show that. And through the literacy, I think that's a great window and avenue, because like my mom said, the value of reading a book is not as high these days, but even with our book, we're intentional. It's not sold as an ebook. You have to pick up a physical copy, whether it's a softback or a hardback. And I think for me as a kid, I used to love reading series. So I wanted to create that for the new generation. I love Little Bill, little things like that. So we kind of want to create our own version of that, I guess, is what we ended up doing without even intentionally realizing that's what we were doing. And just leaving a long-lasting impact. My thing is I want to live a life that outlives myself, so that when I'm gone, when Mama's gone, our book will still be here and still have a message and be relevant even when we're long and gone. And knowing that, you know, I always say this, there's a graveyard experience. If you walk around the graveyard, you see headstones and people that passed away. But I think more than those headstones and the people that are passed away, there are dreams, visions, ideas that passed away with the person. And I say to myself, how dare you like die with this book inside you? I want to like get it all out. There's a book idea, a podcast, whatever it is, I want to get it out. So this is one of those instances where this is the book that we had. Sometimes you can kind of self-sabotage and say, well, there's other books out there like that. But I always say that the market is not oversaturated. If you're not out there with your book, it's not out there. So even if somebody else, another mother and son comes out behind us, they're not us. Our story is our story. So just want to get it out. And you never know who will inspire the impact till you put it out there. I mean, every time we've done a reading at a church or school, we get at least one adult that comes up to us and says, because you put your story out there, I need to put mine out there. What am I waiting for? You guys did it. I tell people, you never have the most money. You never have the most resources. You just have to do it. Do it afraid. Do it with not the most money. The part of it is to just do it.
Right.
Sorry, Nike, I'm taking your slogan, but just do it. However you got to get it out there, just get it out there, because you don't know the impact until it's out there. So that's my slogan. What are you want to inspire?
We talk about the inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the steps in Fulton County Courthouse.
Mm-hmm.
And of course that is a rendition of me. Her part is not on the right side, but it's kind of there. But we say that because they go, okay, this is the two of you. If we were to put on blue suits and have briefcases, it would pretty much look like us.
Right.
And that's what we wanted. The pages are very colorful, so it would keep the attention of the children who are reading it and the parents to read it at bedtime. And the village, we know that it takes grandmas, it takes grandmothers. Some of these co-workers here would watch him. If I was running late in court, they would go pick him up from aftercare. He used to joke I was always the last one to be picked up and the last one to leave, and the first one there. But he understood the importance of my job. And it wasn't just to lock people up. It was also to send a message, and hopefully, as I used to tell them, and I still tell them today, I don't want to ever see you again. And they go, huh?
Right.
And I said, no, I don't want to see you again. And they get it. Right, Judge? I said, exactly. If I don't see you again, you're doing positive. I'll see you on TV, or I'll see you in the store maybe, but I don't want to see you in the courtroom again. So that lets me know you're okay, you're stable, you're doing well, and making an impact on society. I don't want you to keep coming back to see me under these circumstances. So that's what we want to do with the book. And again, to encourage summer reading. Summer's coming up, so we have a lot of dates planned for libraries with the summer reading programs. You know, used to get the Pizza Hut certificates for reading 5 books and things of that nature.
So people, dads and other people, they can kind of like, I don't know, but moms kind of get left with doing everything. So I wanted to highlight this and show, like, my mom did a good job. You know, there's no manual on how to do this or do that, but sometimes you just do the best with what you have. And I'm just blessed to have such a monumental mother, and the things that she did and the sacrifices that she made. She didn't have a manual book on what to do or what not to do. She did the best that she could. And her best was pretty good to me, so I enjoyed it.
I appreciate that.
How do people find the book? What's the easiest way?
So our website is www.adventuresofmommyandme.net, and so on our website it will have a little more about us, our story, different interviews we've done. You can purchase the book through our website. If you email us, if you want a signed copy, we can ship directly to you or meet you in the Atlanta area. If not, you can buy it off Amazon or BarnesandNoble.com or some other online sites if you just search it. But Amazon and Barnes & Noble are like the main two online sites.
I think it's on Walmart.com.
Yeah, Walmart.com as well. And other, people can choose to pick up the book because it's in the Ingram Sparks Network as well. So other, small bookstores can pick it up. But we like it when people buy it directly from us, or we can sign it and put a nice message in there if that's what you like. And also we have our Instagram page, which is called Adventures of Mommy and Me. So it's the and symbol, Adventures of Mommy and Me. But you'll see us, it'll be the two of us with our book, and try to post things on our page as well. So
we've enjoyed going around meeting people. We were at a book fair 2 weeks ago out in Conyers, and it was just good to see other mothers and their children, and actually other Black authors too. And sometimes it's grandma, it's auntie, cousins, and guardians. And so we want to have the impact to kids any and everywhere.
You can get anywhere from there. It's just, just how you choose to look at it is just a stepping stone into something greater. So.
Right. And one last shameless plug, and he said that when he said you can go anywhere from here. Actually, I think he borrowed that slogan from his HBCU, Savannah State. So we both are HBCU grad, and he wasn't trying to go to an HBCU, but I kind of pushed him a little bit there as well. So we also love our HBCUs and want to encourage people to consider them. You won't regret it.
Our story is very Black and historical. Atlanta, HBCU,
right.
Mother and single mother at that time. So,
right.
yeah.